Ryoko introduced herself and the others. "We're all part of the special task force except for Lex," she added. The German giant with the angry-sounding accent isn't part of the Japanese special task force against the Skibidi Toilets. "I don't think I would have ever guessed it," said Brittany snarkily. "However, if Miss Hot Seductive Evening Fancy Dress over here wasn't Asian, I might have believed you." "You are way too tall to be Japanese," she said, referring to Kuro Silk. "But the katana might have given it away," Brittany finished as she pulled her glasses down and winked at Kuro Silk, and pushed her glasses back up as she turned her head back, continuing down the stairs. Kuro Silk blushed and quickly shook it off before anyone else could see. Miss Ryoko," muttered Mikaru. Brittany turned and looked at Ryoko to see her response. This was a very unusual way for a clear subordinate to address a superior officer. "I'm not Special Task Force," continued Mikaru. "What branch are you with then, JSDFG?" asked Ryoko. "None, I'm not military," replied Mikaru. The group stopped. Ryoko stared at Mikaru with shock. "Well, this makes things clearer," said Kuro Silk. "She has no concept of certain military signals. She didn't understand what it meant when I tapped her on the shoulder in the skyscraper. She doesn't carry herself like she's had proper training, and she never got the coded withdrawal text like we did when our phones went off back in Tokyo. Only military members would have gotten that." "What about you, Jack?" asked Ryoko. "I got it. They took my sister's and my numbers down after they scooped us up and said don't lose your phones," replied Jack. "Oh yeah, he got drafted without being drafted," said Kuro Silk. "Are you mad at me, Miss Ryoko?" asked Mikaru meekly. No, replied Ryoko as she pulled Mikaru in and hugged her. She then held Mikaru by the shoulders. "But how did you end up like this?" asked Ryoko. "I was evacuating with a group of soldiers and other civilians, but the toilets just kept blocking our way and picking people off. We all had to fight. That's how I got the gun and the gear. Some of the soldiers showed us how to use the guns and some other equipment, but eventually, after several days, I was the only one left. I was left on my own for several days. That's when you found me," explained Mikaru. "Well, you're with us now. You're part of the Special Task Force. You'll be my personal attaché until we find someone to get you a proper rank," consoled Ryoko as they started back down the stairs. "Special Task Force, so special it only has an improper nondescript title, because it was so haphazardly thrown together," came a thick, sultry, seductive French Parisian accent from the flight of stairs below. "Everybody, Sabrina Knight, French military," announced Brittany. Sabrina stood below them looking up. She was short at only 152.4 centimeters and looked even shorter from the distance. Her hair was a light sky blue long down past her waist under her lavender beret, black X-hair barrettes on both sides of her face. Her skin was a pale milk white with bright lime green eyes, light sky blue fingernails to match her hair. She wore a lady shrug half shirt, just the collar, and long sleeves, black with the French flag on the right shoulder, a light gray sleeveless turtleneck sweater under that with its fabric giving the illusion that it was sheer, a strong rugged lavender corset over, a lavender straight skirt with a belt around her waist holding spare magazines. The strap of a satchel bag hung over her shoulders while the satchel itself rested against her backside, her legs smooth and bare down to her knees where she wore brown leather front-laced combat boots. She held a H&K 416 assault rifle in her hands with collapsible skeleton stock, suppressor, forward grip and Picatinny rail system with EOTech Halo sight, Surefire X300U flashlight and ANPEQ-15 laser sight. She scowled at Brittany and then turned with a huff and walked down the stairs. "A rude Frenchwoman, well I never," Brittany joked. "Maybe one day she'll relax and not be so stuck up," continued Brittany. "And maybe one day the long stick will fall out of her ass." Brittany shouted so Sabrina had to hear her. Sabrina let out another soft huff as she stuck her nose in the air and hopped down the stairs. Lex then heard metal clanging. He turned to see one of the camera machines again. "Camera dog," he said as it disappeared. Brittany turned to see what he was talking about. "Camera dog," she muttered as she just caught a glimpse of it disappearing into the wire and pipework. "Is that what you call them?" "Not a bad name," she continued. "Do you know what they are?" asked Lex. Nope, they come and go. They seem to appear out of nowhere. They haven't threatened or gotten confrontational with us yet. They seem like they're helping us, but as far as we can tell, it looks like they're just gathering visual reconnaissance, answered Brittany. So we just ignore them for the most part. Are you the one in charge here? Asked Ryoko. No, the fact of the matter is I don't think anybody is. We have no idea who built this place or even how deep it goes, but it's deep. Assets, supplies, and personnel, military and civilian from all over, keep getting directed here. Somebody was preparing for something, and the toilets may have been it, informed Brittany.